I took my time to do research, study, care about league MVP for 70 years of NBA history. And now it's just a thing. It's like, okay, it's Conn Smythe trophy. Like, yeah, whatever. Once upon a time, this really mattered, right? Guys who have won it back-to-back were, you're going to know some of these names. It's Wilt, it's Russell, it's Kareem, it's Moses, it's Bird, it's Magic, it's Michael, it's Duncan, it's Giannis, it's LeBron, it's Steph, and then there's Steve Nash and Nikola Jokic. But it wasn't just basketball that was true. Jim Brown, Joe Montana, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. The only people who won back-to-back MVPs in football. Antoine used to be reserved for the all-time best of the best, the greatest of the greats, plus Steve Nash. Now it's reserved for the all-time best of the best, the greatest of the greats, plus Steve Nash and Nikola Jokic. And it's very, very difficult, Antoine. I know it's a regular season award, but I was told by the people who voted for Jokic that he had a better defensive season this year than Embiid or Giannis. Now, Embiid and Giannis are still playing, so we get to watch them. Does he look like he has more of an impact on defense than them? I was told by the folks that vote on this award that he and Luka are in different stratospheres. Now, Luka happens to still be playing, so we get to see it. Does it look like he has more of an impact on the game than Luka Doncic? No, of course not. But he wins this award 2 years in a row. And 2 years in a row, his team is at home when the award is actually announced. So good job, voters. I hope the VORP gods reward you at the pearly gates, because the real-life NBA watchers will not.
Well, Nick, I actually...
The last 40 years. And you might say this shouldn't matter, but in the light of history, it will. That's every MVP in the last 40-plus years. Derrick Rose is a bit of an outlier because he suffered career-altering injury. Look at those names. Does Chris Paul fit right in probably the lower half, but the middle-ish of those names? The answer is yes. Can we agree, and I know Nuggets fans are going to get mad at me, if Nikola Jokic wins the MVP, he's the worst player to win the MVP since Dave Cowens.
No.
It'll be 50 years. No? Okay, so Nikola Jokic is better than who?
He's a great player. He is a legitimately great player. Why are you dissing Jokic? And you talk about Chris Paul's value
tell me
to
who
the
he's
Suns.
better than.
Take Jokic off the Nuggets, and where are they? Seriously.
Possessions of the game where he blew it defensively and blew it offensively, he played really well. He can hold his head high. Listen, I'm done killing Joker. I said that history is going to judge me fairly and right on this. And history is going to come very quickly. Because, Brew, when they announce he wins MVP and his season is already over and he might already be back in Serbia riding that chariot and not even there to collect the award, this thing's going to flip. I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a whole lot of people saying, well, the numbers might say people are going to quickly realize I was right about this all along. And I'm not going to kill him this morning. If you want to hear, I did 15 minutes uninterrupted on the What's Right with Nick Wright podcast, laying out the full Jokic take. Download, subscribe there. I do want to say, though, Brew, logic tree, and that's the path we follow. And by the way, I think that's why we're likely about to have a 3-time MVP that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in the league. And so let's talk here.
Okay.
So if you have to get a bucket, Rick, who's the number one guy you want to give? Let's just say everyone in the league's healthy.
Yeah.
Who's your number one pick?
Probably Kevin Durant.
Who's number 2?
Steph Curry.
3.
Oh, boy, now it gets watered down.
I'm putting you on the spot. Giannis, it wouldn't be next for you? Have to get a bucket, just go put your head down?
Probably yes. Yes.
Yeah, and Luka's probably shortly
Joel
thereafter
Embiid.
at some
Joel
point.
Embiid's in there, too.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
In there, too.
Yeah.
And then once we get past those guys, then you mention a guy like LeBron and a guy like Jokic and a guy like Tatum. Agreed?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there? Okay.
Sure.
You got to get a stop. I could name 10 guys you want on the court before I mention Jokic,
Giannis
right?
is number 1.
Giannis is number 1 with a bullet.
Yep.
And Embiid's probably number 2, and then Anthony Davis on there. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not the guy you got to have to get a bucket.
Yeah.
He's not the guy you got to have to get a stop.
Yeah.
He hadn't gone on a deep playoff run in 3 years, and that was in the bubble, and all you guys tell me the bubble doesn't count.
Yeah.
We also have history. And Broussard, when am I getting my apology? Now or later? And you're going to have to deliver it, but it's going to be on behalf of a lot of people. Because, okay, I have been called I've been called a troglodyte. I've been called jingoistic, like I have some bias against Jokic's native land. I've been called someone that can't appreciate basketball if it's not in a big market, if it's not Steph or LeBron. I've been called all these things because I've said some very clear and obvious truths about Nikola Jokic. He's a very good player. He also won one of the weakest MVPs we've ever seen in a year when LeBron was going to win it, but then he got hurt. And then KD could win it, but he got hurt. And then Harden could win it, but he got hurt. And then Embiid was going to win, and then he got hurt. And they're like, okay, Jokic wins it. I attacked for that. And then this year, I've been being told by allegedly smart basketball people, including one that used to run a team. Oh, my God. Jokic maybe would go #1 in an expansion draft over Giannis. And then there's an all-star draft with LeBron and Durant, who obviously would take themselves 1 and 2, and then of the remaining guys, he goes 7th, which really means 9th. And then there's an all-star game, and people want to win, and they care about the ending. And Jokic doesn't start the fourth quarter. But then he'll come in when there's a substitution. No, Giannis comes in. Okay, wait, there's another substitution. No, DeMar DeRozan comes in. Well, the other team was playing small. No. The other team was playing Joel Embiid the whole fourth quarter. And your team, Monty Williams, coach of the year, goes centerless rather than play Jokic. And I'm the hater. Monty Williams, smart basketball guy, was like, what gives us our best chance to win? Jokic, sit your ass down. Sit down. You're not going to play. Sorry, buddy. We'd rather have no center on the court rather than watch Embiid cook you the way he had been the whole game. So I don't want to hear ever again that I have to talk about this guy like he's the best player in the league. Is he a top 10 player? Yes. Do I respect this game? Absolutely. Has he evolved? Sure. But what more evidence do you need? Like, Broussard, am I missing something about why Jokic wasn't out there?
You are.
Monty Williams forget about him? Okay, what am I missing?
It was an all-star. It was an all-star game, Nick. It's not that big of a deal. That's what you're missing. All right? I mean, look, Ja Morant didn't play.
My name is Luca.
Yeah, so this to me is really interesting because it shows the power of media narratives. And the media decided that Luka was, I guess, ineligible for this award because he had a slow start to the season. And so now he's 33-1. He's the 8th best odds, despite the fact I'd love to hear the case from anyone on this panel or anyone in the sports world as to why, if let's take Embiid out of it, because I think Embiid has a great case. I think Giannis has a great case. But of our two itch brothers, Jokic and Doncic, someone make the case as to why Jokic is having the better season. Has his team been better? No. But Luka's teammates they are? Luka has better teammates around him? Are we sure? His best teammate the last few years, Tim Hardaway Jr., is shooting less than 40% this year from the field, not from 3, but from the field. Luka scores more. He passes. He's a better passer. Oh, my God, how can you say that? Because he is. Now, but Jokic is the best passing center since Walton. Yeah, that's true, but Luka's still the more effective passer. Now, Jokic does rebound better. Neither one's a great defender. Jokic, of course, is a little more efficient, I think, because typically, he's big man, going to be more efficient. Who do you trust more in a big game? Who do you trust more in the playoffs? Who do you think has a better chance of carrying their team to the NBA Finals? The answer is Luka. And so this is, again, we're in the same place we were last year, where because everyone is falling all over themselves to anoint Nikola Jokic, Broussard, to a level just above where he is. Last year I said, hey, he's an MVP candidate, but I think Chris Paul's the MVP. And then, imagine my embarrassment when Chris Paul played Nikola in the playoffs and swept him. Bye, see you later. It's like the year before, he played Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis said goodbye in 5 games. So, what is the argument that Jokic deserves it over Luka? I'd like to know. What is it? What am I missing?
All right, Nick, you can.
Yep.
As we know, you've already started your victory lap with Jokic losing
Oh.
two straight to Golden State.
Yeah.
You clearly don't think he's MVP.
Yeah.
But he's going against the Warriors alone.
Uh-huh.
What's your problem with this guy?
All right, you know what? I want to do this once and for all because by the next time we talk, the Nuggets might be done. They might already be eliminated from everything. So let's just blow out the rest of the rundown. Demonte, sorry about your prep about CP3's legacy and the Mavs to the finals. We're not doing any of that.
Okay.
We're just going to spend 10 minutes right now, and I'm going to give the cogent final Nikola Jokic take. Because I'm sick of this being misrepresented, and I have the benefit of knowing with utter certainty, with every fiber of my being, that history is going to judge this opinion favorably. And so here's all I've ever said about Nikola Jokic over the last couple of years. He is an excellent player. No one can deny he is an excellent player. I have not denied he is an excellent player. However, I felt last year that he was being elevated to a place a step or two above where he actually was. Instead of excellent player, he was league MVP. And last year, I didn't like it, but I understood it. I, in fact, last year said he would be second on my ballot because LeBron got hurt, Embiid got hurt. I said I would have Chris Paul first. People wanted to give to Jokic. My general pushback was not just that I thought Chris Paul was better, but league MVPs in all of NBA history, with one glaring exception, are supposed to terrify their opponents in the postseason. I didn't feel like Jokic did that. You can call it a regular season award, but what also is true is the way we've been doing it for 70 years in this league. And Demonte, you know how much I care about this. I did a damn recitation of every MVP in order. Yeah. I think it's the most prestigious professional award in sports, NBA MVP. I think it matters. And when we're doing the rankings of players, MVP and top 5 finishes really, really matter. And I thought last year, Chris Paul deserved it. Instead, Jokic got it. And then a great confluence of events. Chris Paul and Jokic play in the postseason. Chris Paul's unbelievable. They sweep the Nuggets, and Jokic gets kicked out of the final game. But I dealt with it. Guy who I thought should come in second came in first. It happens. You have bad MVPs given, right? Karl Malone won one he shouldn't have. It happens. But then this year is where it got truly batshit crazy. Because this year, we changed all of the rules, literally and figuratively, for how we have done MVP voting since the media's been voting for 40 years to make an exception for Jokic. So nobody that was a 6 seed or worse had won MVP except for Russell Westbrook, and we'll get to him in a moment. Jokic was the 6 seed all year long, and they were like, no, he has to be the MVP. And then at the same, I'll give you a great example of why, to me, it had gone so crazy. Bill Simmons, who I have a lot of respect for, voted Jokic MVP. He also said on the same podcast that he said he's voting Jokic MVP, that he thought the Nuggets were the single worst team in the Western Conference playoffs. And I'm sitting here saying, guys, that's never how NBA MVP has worked, ever. Where you could be the now back-to-back MVP, the best player in the league 2 years in a row, and everyone thinks your team stinks. This isn't baseball with Mike Trout. You're on the court 40-plus minutes. You play both ends. And the only response was, look at the advanced numbers. Look at the advanced numbers. They said I was an idiot if I said, listen, I think there's 7 or 8 guys in this league better than him. Still a top 10 player. But if you're asking players, and at some point, players' opinions have to matter. Who scares you in the postseason? I think Giannis's name gets mentioned. I think Kawhi, when he's healthy, his name gets mentioned. Obviously Durant. Obviously Steph. Obviously, I feel LeBron.
Well, how scary would those teams be if they were missing their second and third best guy?
Okay.
You know, he's not going to beat the Warriors alone.
No, you're right. He's not going to beat the Warriors alone. But at the very least, first of all, put up a good showing. Don't get ejected again. Have fewer points, fewer rebounds, fewer assists. Your field goal percentage go down by 10 points in the postseason. When Russ was the 6 seed and won MVP, it was a bad MVP. It was a bad vote. But That postseason, he went 37, 12, and 11. He had a 50-point triple-double. They won a game, and 3 of their losses were by 6, 4, and 2 points. He at least was competitive. But it's not one MVP. It's a back-to-back MVP. And a back-to-back MVP should never be an underdog in round 1. It's never happened. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.